Chapter 73-72. Gong Jun's face immediately fell when he heard that. Sister-in-law, what are you and boss doing? Boss came yesterday and took away a lot of blood spirit stones. Why are you here again today? Cultivation requires blood spirit stones. Bailey Hongzhuang found it funny when she heard that Di Baichen had come yesterday. She didn't think blood spirit stones were important in the past, but now that she was cultivating, she realized how important they were. No wonder Zhou Su and the others didn't make any progress in their cultivation. At this rate of consumption, the manager's cultivation resources were far from enough. These are the remaining blood spirit stones. Boss probably guessed that you didn't have enough blood spirit stones on you, so he left half behind when he took them away yesterday. Gong Jun's lips twitched. When he took out the blood spirit stones yesterday, he realized that his boss had only taken half of them. He was rather touched. It seemed that the blood spirit stones weren't left for him, but for his sister-in-law. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't stand on ceremony and immediately put the blood spirit stones away. Thank you. Gong Jun looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with tears in his eyes. When he saw that she was about to leave, he couldn't help but ask, Sister-in-law, you really didn't leave anything for me? Chun Returning Tower has a lot of profit every day. Don't be sad. There will be more soon. Bailey Hongzhuang comforted him before taking out some pills from her storage ring. She said, take these pills and sell them. You should be able to sell some. Gong Jun immediately beamed with joy when he saw that. Bailey Hongzhuang's pills had always been of excellent quality. They could be sold for a high price in the Crossing Immortal domain. Sister-in-law, don't worry. Leave it to me. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't waste time. She took the cultivation resources and went to cultivate again. The pills in her hand were actually leftovers from before. With their current cultivation, they didn't have much of a chance to use them. It just so happened that most of the cultivators in the Crossing Immortal domain weren't strong, so these pills could be put to good use. In the blink of an eye, another month had passed. Bailey Hongzhuang was overjoyed when she noticed that her skin was starting to turn gray. According to the records in the book given by the deputy pavilion leader, such a situation meant that he had successfully advanced to rank 1. For 2 whole months, she had been cultivating in seclusion, and the consumption of blood spirit stones was extremely fast. Today, she had finally succeeded in breaking through. She thought that her body already had very few impurities. She didn't expect that she would be able to expel these impurities after breaking through. When he reached the end of his cultivation, his body would completely transform into the body of an immortal. That would be completely different. When the impurities were completely discharged, Bailey Hongzhuang familiarized herself with it and walked out of the room with a refreshed look. Even though she had only broken through to rank 1, she could clearly feel that she was different. Her spirit was better than usual. Not only that, his vision had become clearer, his range of vision had become wider, and he could even hear sounds from afar very clearly. Being able to see and hear clearly was a very good feeling. Bailey Hongzhuang walked out of the room with a smile. When she noticed that Di Baichen was also outside, she immediately walked over quickly. Wife, you broke through? Di Baichen noticed the changes in Bailey Hongzhuang and asked with a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. You broke through faster than me. I just broke through 2 days ago, so we're at the same time. Shangguan Yingying also walked out of the room when she heard the commotion in the courtyard. She saw that the sun was just right, and the immortal couple was chatting happily. Chapter 73-73. You're finally out. You've been in seclusion for 2 months. Shangguan Yingying walked over quickly, but stopped before she reached Bailey Hongzhuang. Wait, let me see. You two seem different. What's the difference? Di Baichen asked. Shangguan Yingying carefully looked at the two of them, and a look of understanding appeared in her eyes. Hongzhuang, I haven't seen you for 2 months. You seem to have become more beautiful. Your skin is more sparkling and translucent, and more delicate. Shangguan Yingying's eyes widened. As a woman, she had always been very concerned about her appearance. With just one look, she noticed the difference. Hongzhuang was already very beautiful, but now she was truly beautiful and charming. She was more delicate than a flower. Di Baichen too. You're even better looking. Shangguan Yingying shouted behind her. Xiren, come and take a look. When Xiren heard her voice and quickly walked out of the room. What's wrong? Take a look. Haven't they become more beautiful? Shangguan Yingying asked. Xiren looked carefully and said suspiciously. Don't tell me you two have dual cultivation? Bang! Di Baichen sent Xiren flying with a palm strike. When Xiren crawled up from the ground, patted the dust off his body and said, I was just asking, why are you so savage? If you've really obtained any dual cultivation techniques, can you teach me? Bang! Shangguan Yingying kicked Xiren and sent him flying. What nonsense are you talking about? Bailey Hongzhuang noticed that Shangguan Yingying's cheeks were slightly red. She found it funny. This Xiren really had no scruples at all. He even dared to say such things in broad daylight. You two are too exaggerated. Xiren got up again. Didn't I just say a few words? Do you have to treat me like this? When Bailey Yanche and the others heard the commotion outside, they all walked out of the house. When they saw Xiren, who was in a sorry state, they couldn't help but ask, Xiren, what did you do this time? Baichen and Hong Zhuang have obtained the dual cultivation method. I was just asking them and they beat me up. Yanche, you're Hong Zhuang's brother. You have to ask them. Bailey Yanche's face instantly darkened. He was starting to regret asking that question. Don't bother with him. He's just bored out of his mind, so he's looking for trouble. Shangguan Yingying was too lazy to say more about this matter. Even if they were married, it was still embarrassing to talk about this kind of thing. Lang looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and noticed the same problem. Hongzhuang, you've become more beautiful. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. After we went to the devouring or pavilion this time, we realized that the cultivation of the elementary celestial stage is the cultivation of the physical body. We went into seclusion for 2 months and successfully broke through to the first grade elementary celestial stage. Our bodies have undergone a certain transformation, which is why we look different. Hearing this, everyone understood. So that's how it is. The cultivation after the elementary celestial stage is actually like this? That's right. My physical strength is now much stronger than before. My defense has also increased. After entering the elementary celestial stage, the most important thing is to transform the mortal body into the body of an immortal. Therefore, every part of the body needs to be refined one by one. We've never considered this problem before, so we delayed a lot of our cultivation time. Chapter 73-74. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed. If she had known that this was the case, with their cultivation speed, they would have at least broken through to the first grade by the time Azure Demon found them. Perhaps they would not have been suppressed so miserably. Who would have thought that the cultivation method after the elementary celestial realm would be completely different? Bai Lianche comforted them. I believe that with your talent, it's only a matter of time before you catch up with the Qing devil. Fortunately, you've already figured out this problem. Otherwise, I'm afraid it would take even longer. Di Xiaofeng chuckled. Thanks to you, we won't have to take such a detour when the time comes. Hong Zhuang and I have broken through to level 1. Have you broken through to the elementary celestial realm? Di Baichen asked. Bai Lianche smiled. I finally broke through a few days ago. I've also broken through, Linger said. Hearing this good news, Bailey Hongzhuang's face was overjoyed. She immediately handed the cultivation method in her hand to the two of them and said, This is a detailed introduction to the cultivation method after the beginning immortal stage. Take a look. Bai Lianche put away the book. Okay, we've just broken through, so we need to stabilize our cultivation for a while. We'll cultivate when the time comes. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. It's good to stabilize your cultivation. You're demonic beasts, so we can't compare with your physical strength. It should be very easy for you to break through to level 1. We're still a little short. I'm afraid it'll take a while before we can break through. Di Xiaofeng looked helpless. He thought his cultivation talent was very outstanding, but compared with Di Baichen and the others, he realized that his talent was much weaker. It's a threshold to break through from the radiant sun realm to the elementary celestial realm. It's not easy to break through, so it's normal to spend more time. Don't be too anxious. Sometimes going too far is as bad as falling short. Di Baichen's expression was calm. He thought about how many cultivators in the immortal chaos realm had been stuck at the brilliant sun realm for many years without being able to break through. For them to be able to break through in such a short amount of time was already a great opportunity. Even if he had to spend more time, as long as he could make a breakthrough, it would be extremely outstanding. Beichen, I've thought about it carefully. Since you've already broken through to the elementary celestial stage, why don't you head to the immortal region first? Di Xiaofeng's expression was serious. This was the result of his careful consideration. Based on Mai and Yunyan's situation, it will take us a while to break through. Even if we enter the immortal region now, we will only be a burden to you. Since that was the case, he might as well stay here for now. When father comes over, and everything here settles down, it won't be too late to look for you after I make a breakthrough. What do you think? Di Beichen was an eagle. He was suited for a wider world. As the elder brother, he couldn't keep up with his younger brother's pace. At the very least, he couldn't drag his younger brother down. With his strength, crossing celestial domain was a good choice. He also wanted to go to the immortal region, but it would take him more time. Hearing this, Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang looked at each other. The two of them didn't expect Di Xiaofeng to make such a suggestion. Xiaofeng's words make sense. You still have a lot of things to deal with. Staying in the crossing celestial domain won't increase your strength much. Why don't you head to the immortal region? Langer said slowly. Now that the situation in the crossing celestial domain was more or less settled, there was no need to continue staying here. Chapter 73-75. Bailey Hongzhuang thought about it carefully and nodded. That's not a bad idea. They needed to improve their strength. Now they had only mastered the cultivation method. If they wanted to improve further, they would have to go to the immortal region. After father and the others ascend, I will arrange everything properly. You can rest assured. When you have a place to stay in the immortal region, it will be very convenient for us to find you. Di Xiaofeng smiled slightly. His younger brother and sister-in-law were definitely not ordinary people. Perhaps the next time they met, the two of them would be very far away from them. However, he was never jealous. He only hoped that they would get better and better. Di Beichen pondered and said, Okay, then we will go to the immortal region and work hard. When we have a certain foundation, you can come back. Azure Demon was currently in the celestial realm. Although he was severely injured last time, he didn't take his life. Most likely, he was still on guard against them now. In addition, according to the Vice Pavilion Master, they might encounter some trouble after going to the celestial realm. If they brought everyone along, it would be more dangerous if they encountered any problems. It was better to wait for them to stabilize, and then let Big Brother come. This way it would be safer. Then what about Yingying and I? Xiren's expression changed. Yen Che and Ling had broken through, so they naturally had to go together. However, he and Yingying hadn't. Should they go or stay here? Di Beichen glanced at Xiren. Do you need me to find a dual cultivation method for you? Xiren's expression stiffened. You are still teasing me at this time? Instead of focusing on these things, you should spend more time on cultivation. Look, Yen Che and the others have all broken through. Xiren couldn't help but lower his head. He was a little ashamed. In comparison, his strength had improved a little too slowly. Beichen and the others had given them a lot of cultivation resources since they came back. Compared to other cultivators, their cultivation conditions were undoubtedly much better. However, with the help of Beichen and the others, he still hadn't broken through. It was really embarrassing. However, he soon realized that something was amiss. That's not right. My cultivation talent can't compare to the two of you in the first place. Yen Che is a beast king, and his cultivation talent is already very abnormal. It's not something that I can compare to, okay? You make it sound like I don't want to make progress. It wasn't that he wasn't cultivating. While Beichen and the others were in closed-door cultivation for 2 months, he had also been in closed-door cultivation. What happened to Qing Devil taught him a lesson. He decided to make a breakthrough as soon as possible in order to pay back what Qing Devil and Xiao Sou had done to him. That despicable and shameless woman. The memory of how she stabbed Yingying was still fresh in his mind. If he didn't kill her, he would never forget it. Bachin chuckled. I'm just reminding you. Are you going or not? Xiren looked at Shangguan Yingying. Yingying didn't say anything. He thought for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, I'll go too. All these years he had been cultivating with Bachin. He had a premonition that if he stayed in the crossing celestial domain this time, the gap between him and Bachin would be even bigger in the future. He might not be able to catch up with him anymore. Then let's go together. Bachin wasn't surprised. He patted Xiren's shoulder and said, Seize the time and cultivate well. In the celestial domain, all cultivators had reached the elementary celestial stage. If they didn't break through, they would be bullied even if they went in. Chapter 73-76. Seeing that Bachin agreed without hesitation, Xiren also smiled. Okay. After you go, stay in the chaos ring for the time being. We'll first inquire about the situation. If the brilliant Sun Realm cultivators are not in a difficult situation, you guys can come out. If the situation is too difficult, you guys can stay here for the time being. I understand. Xiren nodded. The cultivation environment in the Chaos Ring is not bad. If the time comes, we'll go back to the upper realm for a while. We can go after we break through. Okay. After making this decision, everyone decided to leave. Bachin quickly arranged everything. At the same time, he introduced Zhou Su to Xiaofeng. After the two knew that Xiaofeng was Bachin's big brother, they were extremely polite. Originally, Bachin planned to arrange a job for Xiaofeng. Becoming a steward was not a bad choice. However, when Gong Jun knew that everyone was preparing to leave, he immediately refused. No matter what, he wanted to leave with everyone. Regarding this, no one objected. They handed the returning Chun Tower to Xiaofeng. Now that everything in the returning Chun Tower was on track, he only needed to take a look at the situation. He did not need to spend too much effort. With the returning Chun Tower, they could be considered to have something to rely on here. They did not even have to worry about cultivation resources. When the time comes, we'll come back depending on the situation. Bachin said. Xiaofeng nodded slightly. Don't worry, your big brother is not useless. Leave these things to me. I'll take care of it properly. I've always known big brother's ability. Bachin chuckled. As the young master of the D family, Xiaofeng had always been extremely outstanding. These things were really simple for him. Right, this is for you. Xiaofeng handed him a note. Looking at the note in his hand, a location was written on it. This is... The nine-tailed inferno fox has already woken up. This time, when I decided not to go, it also agreed. Previously, we had promised it that we would go to a place. This is the place it was talking about. After you go to the immortal domain, you must go and take a look. Hearing this, Bachin also understood. Don't worry, I will definitely go. Yes. Xiaofeng let out a sigh of relief. I believe the nine-tailed inferno fox won't harm you. But the demonic beasts here are very strong. I think you should be careful. He had already witnessed the strength of the nine-tailed inferno fox. A demonic beast that the nine-tailed inferno fox called very strong. Its strength was imaginable. No one knew what a murderer like that would be like once he got angry. Perhaps it would be extremely dangerous. I'll be careful. Xiaofeng, don't worry. Bachin has a very powerful contracted beast. Who knows? We might be able to see a great battle between the two of them. When Xiren chuckled. Thinking about your contracted beasts, each stronger than the other, I'm really envious. When can I also have a contracted beast like that? At that time, I won't have to do anything and just let someone else do it. It's both majestic and elegant. It's simply perfect. The reason why you can't find a powerful contracted beast is probably because of your thinking. Who would have nothing better to do than to come work for you? Xiao Xuanzi couldn't help but say. Chapter 73-77. Xiao Xuanzi felt that after following his master for so long, his master had never had such an idea. Thinking about it carefully, he was really lucky. Xiren's tone stagnated, and his face was a little dark. Was this guy looking for a beating? Seeing this, Xiaohua couldn't help but laugh. Xiren was simply a clown. Under such circumstances, The group embarked on the journey back. According to the deputy pavilion master, although the ascension entrance to the immortal domain had been closed, there was a way to enter the immortal domain every 3 years. This was the connection between the devouring or pavilion and the immortal domain. As a member of the devouring or pavilion, they could use this method to enter the immortal domain, but there was still a long time before the next time they went to the immortal domain, so they decided to go back through the natural moat. What's more, they had to go to Xi'an City to meet up with Yin Zhu and the others. Di Beichen, Hong Zhuang, be careful on your way back. Seeing them leave, Zhou Su and Xiao Xuanzi felt a little reluctant. After getting along with each other during this period, they had become very close. In the future, this deal will be handed over to you. Don't spread it out, and you must keep it a secret. Di Beichen warned. Once this kind of thing was spread out, it would inevitably cause a huge disturbance. At that time, not only would they be in trouble, but Lu Jin and the others would also be finished. Don't worry, we still cherish our lives very much. This kind of thing that threatens our lives is impossible. Lei Jun chuckled. That's good. I hope we will have a chance to meet again in the future. There will be. It was dark all around. The dark aura of the natural moat hit them in the face, and the sunlight never appeared here. Even if everyone's strength had improved, when crossing the natural moat, everyone was still cautious about the dangers that might appear at any time. Fortunately, they still remembered the route they took, and they also remembered some of the places that needed to be paid attention to by Bosch Qian. When they returned to the town again, they found that the formerly peaceful town was now emitting a huge energy fluctuation, and some familiar houses had been turned into ruins. What's going on? Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. This situation was obviously caused by someone. Could it be that someone had fought? Lu Jin, I advise you to tell me the route now. Otherwise, all of you will die. A man looked at Lu Jin arrogantly. At this moment, he had one hand around Lu Qiu's neck, and his eyes were filled with ruthlessness. Behind him, several men had already restrained Yang Tianzhao and Jiang Zhen. The two of them had clearly suffered a vicious beating. Their clothes were stained with blood, and they looked miserable with pale faces. They knelt on the ground as their blood mixed with sand and stones flowed all over the ground. Lu Jin, don't tell him. Jiang Zhen gritted his teeth. Even if you tell him, he won't let us go. We're going to die anyway. Even if we die, we can't let them die happily. Bang! The man kicked Jiang Zhen's body. If you keep talking, I'll kill you right now. Father, don't say it. Lu Qiu's eyes were filled with hatred. Even if the knife on his neck was very close and blood was gradually seeping out, he was still fearless. Seeing this, Lu Jin also revealed a look of hesitation on his face. He understood that in this situation, he would not be able to escape death in the end. However, if he did not say anything, he really could not watch everyone die in front of him. Chapter 73-78. Looks like you're not motivated enough. Why don't I kill one of you first? The man laughed coldly as his gaze swept across Lu Qiu and the others. Should I kill him first, him or him? Why don't I kill your son first? Since he's never been to the natural moat, there's no point in keeping him alive. As soon as he finished speaking, the man's expression instantly turned ferocious. He gradually exerted more force on the sharp sword in his hand, and fresh blood flowed down the tip of the sword and onto Lu Qiu's clothes. In an instant, his neck was dyed bright red. Lu Qiu's body trembled as the fear of death enveloped him. However, he stubbornly gritted his teeth and did not say a word. Qiu! Lu Jin screamed at the top of his lungs as his hands trembled incessantly. However, in the face of his son's determined gaze, even though his eyes were filled with tears, he did not say a word in the end. Just as they had said, none of them would be able to escape this calamity. Even if they were to die, they would not let the other party have a good time. You go first. Father will be with you soon, Lu Jin said in a low voice. When the man saw that Lu Jin had no intention of giving up at this point, he was instantly enraged and his attack became even more ruthless. Since that's the case, then die. The sharp sword in the man's hand turned from a cut to a stab, and fiercely pierced towards Lu Qiu's neck. Ding! A clear sound rang out, and the sharp sword in the man's hand fell to the ground. The sudden turn of events caused everyone to raise their heads and look in front of them in confusion. Lu Jin and the others' faces were filled with disbelief. Young Master D? Di Baichen and the others rushed to Lu Jin's side. After they had climbed up the natural moat, they had already smelled the scent of blood coming from the small town. This had made them feel extremely strange, and they had not expected to see such a scene when they had arrived. Bailey Hongzhuang quickly brought Lu Qiu to the side and took out a bandage to stop his bleeding. Lu Qiu had long given up hope and was only waiting for death to come. He did not expect that at the last moment, someone would come to save him. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't say much. She took out a pill and stuffed it into his mouth. She then wrapped up the wound and said, "Your injury isn't very serious. The wound on your neck is only a flesh wound. It hasn't hurt your core. You just have to be careful not to let the blood flow out again." Lu Qiu nodded blankly and stood behind Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. Even at this moment, he still couldn't believe that his life was saved. A glimmer of hope appeared in the eyes of Lu Jin and the rest. They were already in a desperate situation, and the appearance of Di Baichen's group was no different from divine soldiers descending from the heavens. "What's going on?" Di Baichen asked in a deep voice. Jiang Zhen and Yang Tianzhao were both under their control. Not far away, there were many corpses of the townsfolk. It was obvious that a bloody battle had broken out here. They wanted to get the method to enter the natural moat from us. If we didn't tell them, they would massacre the entire town. Lu Jin quickly calmed down, and his hands stopped trembling. He immediately explained the situation in a concise and comprehensive manner. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were not surprised. There was nothing special about this small town. If not for this, the other party would not have acted so wantonly. This matter is a bit strange. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly, her eyes looking at the other party's group. Chapter 73-79. What's wrong? Shangguan Yingying asked, puzzled. There are more than 10 of them. The leader's aura is very strong. He should be more powerful than me and Baichen. Such an expert should be able to do well in the celestial realm. However, he came to a small town outside the chaotic celestial realm, just to do business with the devouring spirit ore? Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows slightly. She knew it was impossible. Although the devouring spirit ore was rare outside, it was not too difficult for an expert in the elementary celestial realm. There was no need to pay such a high price to come outside, just for some devouring spirit organ. It was not worth it at all. Bai Liyan Che and the others also understood. At a glance, they saw there were 3 experts in the elementary celestial realm. Such a team could almost wipe out a large area in the chaotic celestial realm. No wonder the small town was facing such a disaster. "Who are you?" When Di Baichen was sizing up the man was also sizing up Di Baichen. "You don't need to know who I am. What you need to know is whether you can leave here alive or not." Di Baichen did not say much. He unsheathed his long sword and dashed out quickly. Sword shadows scattered in the sky and attacked the man from all directions. Ding! 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 Shocking sword chi exploded in the air, emitting waves that made people's hearts palpitate. The man did not expect Di Baichen to attack without saying anything. He waved the long sword in his hand, and the origin energy in his body surged. Then he charged forward. Bang! Their swords collided, and a string of dazzling sparks sputtered out. Di Baichen's eyes narrowed. The man's strength was far beyond his imagination. "You're just at the first stage of the elementary celestial realm. How dare you attack me? I'll send you to hell." The man shouted coldly. There was arrogance and wildness between his eyebrows. "All of you attack. Leave no one alive." As soon as he said that, the cultivators behind the man charged forward with their weapons. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed. "Let's go. Yingying, you're in charge of saving them." "Okay," Shangguan Yingying said without hesitation. The 8 of them might not be able to match up to the other party in terms of numbers, but their fighting prowess was on a whole different level. Shangguan Yingying's body was as nimble as a snake. She shuttled through the crowd and quickly rescued Jiang Zhen and Li Wuyo. As soon as he came out, Jiang Zhen unlocked the shackles on his body and took out his weapon. Then he rushed forward aggressively. These guys, I'm going to kill them. Jiang Zhen. Yang Tianzhao was worried when he saw that Jiang Zhen was still so impulsive despite his injuries. He also wanted to rush up, but his cultivation level was not as high as theirs, and coupled with his serious injuries, he would only be a burden if he went up, so he might as well stay here. Uncle Yang, can they win? Lu Qiyu worriedly watched the great battle in front of him. The energy fluctuations were extremely shocking. He could only hear the sounds of fighting, but he couldn't see what was happening in the center of the battlefield. Yang Tianzhao hesitated for a moment before nodding. Yes, young Master D and the others are very strong. In the center of the battlefield, Bailey Hongzhuang stopped after killing 3 people. The other party's strength was very strong compared to the entire town, but it wasn't much of a threat to them. The only thing they needed to pay attention to was the man in the lead. If she guessed correctly, the man was probably at the 2nd stage of the elementary celestial realm. Beichen alone could understand the difference between the 2nd stage and the 1st stage. Chapter 7380. Lu Jin, your injuries aren't light. Rest for a while. Looking at the seriously injured Lu Jin, who was still charging forward, Bailey Hongzhuang tried to persuade him. Hearing this, Lu Jin couldn't help but be stunned. Miss Bailey, this? Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Xiren and the others. Leave those guys to them. It's just a matter of time. There were only 3 people above the elementary celestial stage. Now, other than the leader, the other 2 have been dealt with. She noticed that Ling and Bai Lian Che were only holding back a few people. Only Xiren's situation was slightly dangerous. He had been in the glorious sun stage for a long time, and hadn't met an opponent of equal strength for a long time. Now that he had the chance to fight, it was undoubtedly excellent. He would just treat it as finding someone to practice. Lu Jin saw the situation clearly, and immediately heaved a sigh of relief. A feeling of surviving a disaster spread. When he noticed Di Beichen's situation, he couldn't help but say, Lu Tung is a 2nd stage elementary celestial stage. Young Master D is still a 1st stage elementary celestial. I'm afraid we'll need help. He didn't expect Lu Tung to have broken through to the 2nd stage elementary celestial stage. That was why he fell into such a situation. Otherwise, even if they couldn't win, they still had some hope of escaping. It's okay. He can do it. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the celestial figure in the air, her eyes full of trust. If the difference in strength was too great, the difference would have been obvious. However, Di Beichen's situation was obviously not difficult. The other party treated him as an ordinary 1st stage elementary celestial stage. Once he underestimated the enemy, the consequences were already destined. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's confidence, Lu Jin was a little puzzled. Bang! A figure fell to the ground. Lu Tung retreated a few hundred meters before stabilizing his body. His eyes were filled with surprise. Are you really a 1st stage elementary celestial stage? So what if I am? Di Beichen's eyes lit up. Ever since he knew that the elementary celestial stage's cultivation method was different, he had always wanted to know the difference between a tempered limb and an untempered limb. He didn't expect to have the opportunity to experience it so soon. The other party had obviously tempered his right hand, and the strength of his right hand was extremely shocking. In the beginning, he had almost fallen into his trap. Fortunately, his opponent's grasp of this power was not thorough enough. Furthermore, he had not grasped a very good martial skill, so he was not able to suppress him. Lu Ting's face turned even uglier after he received a positive answer. He was a rank 2, yet he couldn't even defeat a rank 1. It would be a joke if word got out. Just as he was about to make another move, he realized that Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were already standing at the side, watching their battle. Where are my people? He quickly looked around and realized that several of his men had already died. Only 3 of them were still fighting with one of the enemy's men. Hey, I'm not done here yet. Why are you guys watching the show over there? When Xiren had been holding back the 3 of them, waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang and the others to finish off their targets before they came to help him. However, as he waited, The fluctuations of the battle around him had already disappeared. Only then did he realize that something was wrong. He took a closer look and realized that these people had stopped to watch the show. They had no intention of helping him at all. Xiren, you've been freeloading all day. It's time for you to do something. Bai Li Yinche chuckled. It's just 3 people. With your strength, it won't be a problem. F***ck, you guys are too much. Xiren was dumbfounded. Were they kidding him? Chapter 7381. Why are the 3 of you only targeting me? Can't you see that there's someone else there? When Xiren could not help but ask his opponents. However, the 3 of them completely ignored him. What kind of joke was this? These people were all in the elementary celestial stage. If they were to attack, they would probably die before they could even reach them. Fortunately, there was one in the radiant sun stage among them. Who else could they target other than this person? You can hit anywhere but not my face. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Moreover, there were 3 of them, so when Xiren could not help but be hit, the 3 of them did not hold back and punched Xiren in the face. After being punched in the face, a burning pain came. Xiren immediately felt that his face must be swollen, and he immediately became angry. I already said not to hit my face, but you still hit my face. What's going on? Suddenly, everyone realized that Xiren seemed to have opened up his conception and governing vessels, and his attacks became unusually ruthless. Lu Qiu looked at Xiren's sudden burst of shocking combat power, and his eyes were filled with shock. This, Shangguan Yingying thought for a moment and said, he probably cares more about his appearance. Lu Qiu and Yang Tianzhao looked at each other. They knew that women usually cared more about their appearance, but they did not expect that there would be men like this too. Lu Tung felt a chill in his heart when he realized that the situation was settled. He thought that it would be easy to resolve today's matter, but he did not expect such an unforeseen event to occur. Immediately, a ferocious look appeared on his face, and it was obvious that he was prepared to fight Di Beichen to the death. Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression turned serious when she saw this. The other party was not weak. If they fought with their lives on the line, perhaps Di Beichen would be in danger. However, just as Lu Ting charged forward and they were about to block him, they realized that this guy suddenly changed direction and ran in another direction. This guy is really cunning, Bailey Yinche said in a daze. Di Beichen chuckled and said, leave it to me. I'll capture him. Seeing the man's confident appearance, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly and was not worried. On the other side, the 3 people who were under Xiren's frenzied attacks were all killed. Xiren, if you had shown such combat power earlier, your face would not have been beaten into a pig's head. Bai Li Yinche chuckled. Who would have thought that these guys are going overboard? When Xiren had a gloomy look on his face, he touched his bruised face and asked, how's my face? That's good, that's good. Only then did when Xiren reveal a relieved expression. Linger looked at Xiren in confusion and said, why are you suddenly so concerned about this? It's because Beichen and Yinche are too handsome. I feel pressured to be concerned about them. Xiren shook his head and sighed, then looked at Xiao Xuanzi and said, Xiao Xuanzi, you should be thinking the same thing as me. Xiao Xuanzi, scram. Xiren, what's there to be afraid of? Xiao Xuanzi, do you want to be punched in the face again? Xiren, pretend I didn't say anything. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the farce between the two and shook her head. She noticed that Yang Tianzhao was already treating Jiang Zhen's wound, then looked at Lu Jin and asked, what is going on? How did they target this place? Chapter 7382. Lu Jin shook his head, his face full of confusion. I don't know either. They suddenly appeared a few days ago. I don't know where they got the news from. They had been wandering around the town before, so we noticed something was wrong. But after we found out, they left. I didn't expect them to suddenly appear here today, and they have already investigated the situation clearly. Yang Tianzhao also walked over and said, Su Shin died so quickly. Maybe these people have something to do with him. Over the years, Su Shin had been setting up a trap. When they came back from the heavenly moat, everything went smoothly. After that, they didn't encounter any danger. Gradually, they treated it as if the dust had settled. Now it seemed that the helpers Su Shun had found were stronger than they thought. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly. If the other party was really Su Shun's people, then they came here so late. Their information was too outdated. Don't think too much. Now this matter has come to an end. You're seriously injured, so you should go back and rest first. Although Lu Jin and the others' lives were not in danger, they had been severely beaten before, and looked very miserable. How are the others in the town? When they arrived earlier, they had noticed a lot of blood here. Presumably, many people had died in the hands of those people. Hearing this, Lu Jin reacted and hurriedly said, Lu Ting also sent a few people to control the others. Shen Xixing is in their hands. I don't know how he is now. Where are they? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed, and her face became serious. They should be in the inn. Her voice fell, and Bailey Hongzhuang and the others quickly rushed in the direction of the inn. Shen Xixing was undoubtedly the first friend they made in the town. If it weren't for his help, everything would not have gone so smoothly. Inside the room, Shen Xixing, who was covered in wounds, stood in front of the shopkeeper. What do you want to do? Let me ask you, who is Di Beichen's friend? The man asked coldly. Shen Xixing looked at the man with surprise. Could it be that this man was Di Beichen's enemy? Who's Di Beichen? I've never heard of this name. The shopkeeper hurriedly replied. It was obvious that this man was their enemy. If they admitted that they knew him, they would all be in big trouble. Old man, who asked you? The man kicked the shopkeeper. I advise you not to have any other thoughts. We've already found out that they went to the crossing celestial domain from here. Lu Jin and the others will die today. If you obediently tell us the others, we might have a chance of survival. Shen Xixing and the others felt their hearts skip a beat. They had caused such a huge commotion here. If nothing had happened, Lu Jin and the others would have already arrived. However, they had not arrived yet. This meant that they were in a terrible situation. Perhaps they were really being controlled. If they were really controlled, then they, and even the entire town, would be finished. The man noticed that Shen Xixing's expression kept changing, and he knew that Shen Xixing must know something. Hurry up and tell me. Shen Xixing's expression changed slightly, but he still did not say anything. He and Bei Chen were friends, so naturally, he could not betray him. Chapter 7383. I don't know, I really don't know. Shen Xixing kept thinking in his heart. The other party came for Di Beichen. But from the content of the question, it was unlikely that the other party could find them through the natural moat. The reason why he did this was probably because he wanted to vent his anger. No matter who he said was Di Beichen's friend, that person would definitely die. The people in the town had always lived in harmony. No one would be pushed out as a scapegoat. I think you want to die. The man lost his patience and directly stabbed Shen Xixing's leg with his sword. Swish. Blood spurted out. Ah! Shen Xixing couldn't help but scream. The pain in his leg made his face pale. Xixing, are you okay? The shopkeeper was also frightened by the scene. The bright red blood reflected in his eyes. He covered Shen Xixing's injured leg with his hands and said, We really don't know. You forced us, but we still don't know anything. The man snorted coldly. Since you don't know, there's no use for you to keep you alive. Just kill all of you together. Outside the house, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others sped up after hearing the scream. They quickly rushed to the inn. Bang! The door of the inn was directly kicked open, and it instantly shattered into pieces. When the man inside saw that the person who kicked the door was a heavenly beauty, his eyes were filled with excitement. Yo, I didn't know that there was such a beauty in this town. It's really an eye-opener. Facing the man's covetous face, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't say anything and directly sent him flying with a kick. The most eye-opening part is yet to come. The man didn't take Bailey Hongzhuang's attack seriously. He only thought that it was a showy but impractical move. He didn't expect that this kick would directly send him flying and fiercely hit the wall. He directly spat out a mouthful of blood. Shen Xixing and the shopkeeper finally saw Bailey Hongzhuang and the others clearly. Their faces were suddenly filled with excitement. Hongzhuang, when did you come back? I'm lucky. I made it just in time. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but rejoice. If they didn't come back today, and came back 2 days later, the entire town would probably have ceased to exist. We're really lucky. The shopkeeper heaved a sigh of relief. I'm too old to take such a shock. I almost fainted. Shen Shixing smiled as if he had just survived a disaster. We're not fated to die yet. Woman, you're courting death. When the remaining two saw that the man was sent flying, they immediately rushed towards Bailey Hongzhuang. However, the essence energy in Bailey Hongzhuang's body surged as she struck out 2 consecutive palms. The two of them ended up in the same state. Initial immortal stage. The 2 men looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in astonishment. They had already investigated this place. The experts in the initial immortal stage were clearly under Lu Teng's control, so they slowly interrogated them here. They didn't expect that another initial immortal stage expert would appear at this time. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Bai Li Yanche. The latter immediately understood and walked towards the 3 men. The 3 of them only saw a purple wind sweep past. 2 of them directly went to see the King of Hell. Only one of them was left, and he was tied up by Bai Li Yanche. Miss Bailey, quickly take a look at Xuxing's leg. The shopkeeper released his blood-stained hands and looked anxiously at Bailey Hongzhuang. He's still so young. His leg can't be broken. Chapter 7384. Let me take a look. Bailey Hongzhuang tore open the trousers around the wound. The ghastly wound immediately came into view. She cleaned the wound and applied some medicine. The wound is very deep. He needs to recuperate for a while, but it won't affect his ability to walk in the future. Don't worry. Shen Shixing smiled. It's not a big deal. It's already not easy to keep my life today. You silly child. A bad life is better than a good death. You haven't even married yet. Why are you saying such things? The shopkeeper scolded angrily. Don't do this in the future. Yes. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others laughed when they saw this. The atmosphere became much more relaxed. Other than this place, are there any other places that are under control? Shen Shixing shook his head. No. That's good. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. You all rest for a while. I'll go take a look at Beichen. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang was about to go out, she saw Di Beichen's figure. I'm already back. Di Beichen walked in front and dragged Lu Teng all the way back. Compared to his arrogant appearance before, Lu Teng was obviously much more miserable now. His face was bruised black and blue, almost like a pig's head. His sullen face was filled with fear and panic. When the crowd saw that Lu Teng was not only defeated by Di Beichen, but also dragged back, their eyes were filled with amazement. A rank 1 defeated a rank 2. Beichen, you're really something. Xiren looked at Di Beichen with admiration. Last time, he also learned about the cultivation method after the elementary immortal stage, so he understood the difference between rank 1 and rank 2. This was the first time they fought, and he could defeat a rank 2 directly. It was obvious that his strength was not ordinary. This guy's combat strength is not very good. I think he's at the bottom of rank 2. He's not worth mentioning. Di Beichen glanced at Lu Teng indifferently. He did not take him seriously at all. He had fought with Qing Devil before, but Qing Devil's cultivation was undoubtedly much higher than Lu Teng's. There was no comparison between the two at all. It was embarrassing that a rank 2 was defeated by a rank 1 cultivator. Now he was humiliated by this guy in front of so many people. Lu Teng was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. It was not because he was weak, but because this guy's combat strength was beyond his expectations. Lu Teng's eyes. Lu, what's the matter with you? Lu Teng's face darkened and he didn't answer. Beichen his. Calm. Not only did he reach rank 1, but his combat strength was even stronger than his. Wasn't this a trap? Shen Shixing had been helped to a chair by the others. When he saw Di Beichen, he said, Beichen, these people are here for you. Are they your enemies? As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes fell on Di Beichen. These people were actually here for him? Di Baichen turned his eyes and looked at Lu Teng. Who sent you here? They had never seen Lu Teng before. Naturally, they did not know him. Since he could come here to find them, he must be well informed. Lu Teng raised his head and said, Since I've fallen into your hands today, I'm dead for sure. Chapter 7385. No matter what, I won't tell you. Don't waste your time. Lu Teng's expression was resolute, as if he was ready to risk everything. If he couldn't accomplish this task, he would die either way. There was no room for negotiation. Hearing this, Lu Jin and the others could not help but sigh. They were the ones who had fallen into such a predicament. They did not expect that in the blink of an eye, it would be Lu Teng who fell into such a predicament. Bai Li Yanche and the others subconsciously looked at Bai Li Hongzhuang. In terms of interrogation, she was the best. Lu Teng noticed the expressions of the others and felt a little strange. He did not understand what was going on. However, he soon understood. If you don't want to talk, I have ways to make you talk. Bai Li Hongzhuang did not give Lu Teng a choice. She reached out and stuffed the poison into his mouth. What did you feed me? Lu Teng panicked. Death was nothing to be afraid of, but the process of dying. If you can hold back and not talk, I'll admit that you're amazing. Hearing this, Bai Li Yanche and the others could not help but look at Lu Teng sympathetically. This guy was going to be miserable later. Yang Tianzhao and the others understood what Bai Li Hongzhuang was going to do. However, this guy had almost destroyed their entire town, so he deserved to end up like this. Therefore, no one pitied him at all. Not long after, Lu Teng felt as if his entire body was on fire. Intense pain emerged from every corner of his body. His face instantly turned red. Even if he clenched his teeth, it was useless. This kind of pain was more painful than any pain he had ever endured. Woman, what did you do to me? Lu Teng shouted crazily. He had seen many poisons, but he had never seen any that could be so strong. I won't ask you, so don't ask me either. Bai Li Hongzhuang's face was indifferent as she sat on the side. She didn't seem to care at all. Lu Teng rolled on the ground. His face was extremely ferocious. His eyes were bloodshot, and the veins on his forehead were bulging. I'll talk. I'll talk. I'll tell you everything. Please, I beg you, give me a quick death. Lu Teng crawled step by step to Bai Li Hongzhuang and begged in extreme pain. The pain made him feel that even death was a kind of mercy. However, Bai Li Hongzhuang did not care. Didn't you plan to say it? Bai Li Hongzhuang sneered. Even if you want to say it now, I don't want to hear it. Lu Teng's eyes widened as he stared at Bai Li Hongzhuang in disbelief. You poisonous woman. Throw him out. When Xiren lifted Lu Teng up and casually threw him outside. I've long found this guy an eyesore. Bai Li Hongzhuang looked at the man in the corner whose face was already pale with fright and said, I'll give you a chance, will you speak or not? I'll tell you everything. The man said without hesitation. He knew how powerful Lu Teng was. Now that Lu Teng had kowtowed and begged for mercy, there was no need for him to say anything. Miss, I'll tell you everything. I only ask that you can give me a quick death. Sure. Bai Li Hongzhuang's lips curled, but her eyes were still cold. That is on the premise that you're telling the truth. Otherwise, I'll let you taste more pain than he did. The man's heart trembled. He did not dare to have any thoughts and hurriedly said, Of course, I'll never lie. Chapter 7386. Bai Li Hongzhuang and the others finally understood what was going on after hearing the flustered man's narration. It turned out that they were sent by Qing Mo previously. They were looking for traces of Bai Li Hongzhuang's group, so they came to the small town. After telling the news to Qing Devil, and the others went to the crossing Immortal Realm first. Before they set off, Qing Devil left a message for them. He told them to kill all the people related to Di Baichen in the small town. As long as they did it, they would be rewarded. Qing Devil was quite powerful in the Immortal Realm. Although their cultivations were good, they hadn't gained a firm foothold in the Immortal Realm. Therefore, they wanted to follow Qing Devil wholeheartedly. This matter was their stepping stone. Originally, This matter was assigned to someone else. However, after Lu Ting heard the news, he spent a lot of effort to take over this task. Who would have thought that this task, which was supposed to be easy, would end up like this? It was beyond everyone's expectation. After learning about this simple plot, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others fell silent. In this case, all the people in the small town were implicated. It's our fault. We're sorry to have implicated you. Di Beichen's voice was low, and his handsome face was full of guilt. Even if it was not clear how many casualties there were in the small town, but according to the situation they had seen along the way, the number of cultivators who had fallen was not small. Lu Jin and the others looked pale. None of them expected to be implicated in such an unexpected disaster. And it was Di Beichen and the others who caused all this. Who else knows about this except you? Not many people know about it. Brother Lu has killed those people. As for the others, they were killed by you, the man said in a trembling voice. Hearing this, the others felt a little relieved. At least, no one knew about this matter anymore. With Qing Devil's current condition, he wouldn't waste his time on this kind of thing. I'm really sorry, Bailey Hongzhuang said guiltily. Her dark almond-shaped eyes were full of hatred. She had long known that the Qing Devil was not a good person, but she did not expect him to be so evil. The Qing Devil wanted to kill all the people who knew them. It meant that anyone who knew them would be regarded as an enemy by the Qing Devil. This level of cruelty really made one blush with shame. Lu Jin and the others were silent at first. In the end, it was Shen Xuxing who broke the silence. You didn't expect this to happen. Besides, you saved us today. Seeing this, the shopkeeper also said, That's right. This is something that no one has ever thought of. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame that guy for being too vicious. Yeah. Lu Qiu's face was full of anger. That Qing Devil is really crazy. Will you be in danger when you go to the immortal realm in the future? We will avenge you, Di Beichen said. I believe in you. Lu Jin also thought it through. Although the smile on his face was a little forced, it was not as complicated as before. It hasn't been long since they went to the immortal realm, but they have already broken through to the first stage. Di Beichen and Shen Xuxing had just broken through to the elementary immortal realm, but they had already broken through to the first stage in such a short time. He thought that their progress would be very slow after they went to the immortal realm. He didn't expect them to be faster than he thought. It was obvious that these two were very talented. Chapter 7387. Where is Qing Devil in the immortal realm now? Di Beichen asked. He's in the Qingpingzhou. The man answered without hesitation. There are 13 continents in the immortal realm. Qing Devil is in the Qingpingzhou. The Qingpingzhou used to be the stronghold of Qing Devil. His remaining forces are here. Therefore, he came back to the Qingpingzhou after he returned to the immortal realm. However, Qing Devil has many enemies. Therefore, people only know that he is in the Qingpingzhou, but they don't know his exact location. It's said that he has more than one stronghold. How did you get in touch with Qing Devil? Lu Ting got the news when he was in the Qingpingzhou. It's said that he knew one of Qing Devil's subordinates. I don't know much about this. According to Lu Tung, he got the news after the other party got drunk. It's said that one can find Qing Devil in the Qingpingzhou with a token. A token? That's right. The man nodded. After Lu Tung got the news from the other party, he killed him directly. I think this token should be in Lu Tung's storage ring. Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. Since there was a token, it would be much easier for them to find Qing Devil in the future. From the man's narration, everyone already had a vague outline of the immortal realm that they had no understanding of. However, this person's strength was not strong, and the things he knew were very limited. Many of them were heard from other people, so they could not completely believe it. All right. Di Beichen retracted his gaze. In any case, this news was of great use to them. Bai Li Yanche took the man out and gave him a quick death. At the same time, he took back the man's and Lu Tung's storage rings. This should be the token he mentioned. Bai Li Yanche took out a token with the word Qing written on it, just like Qing Ji, who they killed before. Qing Devil and his subordinates were all named with the word Qing, which was their symbol. Di Baichen took the token and looked at it carefully. Then he put it away. Qing Devil came to find us. Now it's time for us to go to his stronghold. Today's enmity would be engraved in their hearts, and they would definitely return it all in the future. An eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. This had always been their way of doing things. However, there was one thing they didn't want to see, and that was, they didn't want to see the fish in the moat get implicated. The Azure Fiend's actions were completely immoral, which made them hate him from the bottom of their hearts. Lu Qiyu and the others noticed the expressions of Di Baichun and the others, and their faces couldn't help but show a worried look. Jiang, are you going to the Immortal Realm? We originally planned to go to the Immortal Domain this time around. Have you found the person you're looking for? Jiang Jin asked. Di Baichun was surprised. Then he said, yes, but she was taken away by Qing Devil. So we still have to find Qing Devil. Hearing this, everyone understood. It seems that this person is very important to you. They traveled thousands of miles to come here, and even traveled between the Immortal Realm and the Immortal Realm. If she wasn't important, they wouldn't have put in so much effort. She's our enemy. Di Baichun's eyes darkened. This time, we won't let her get away. It had been a long journey from the upper world to the Immortal Realm, and then to the Immortal Realm. Chapter 7388. Enemy. Yang Tianjia was stunned. They had always thought that Di Baichun and his group had spent so much effort to travel to the crossing celestial realm, so the other party must be someone very important to them. However, they had never thought that the other party would be their enemy. Such an enemy, they must have a blood feud with him. That's right. Di Baichun smiled faintly. There are always grudges that must be settled. Then you'll avenge our town as well. When the time comes, you'll avenge them as well. Jiang Zhen's expression was serious. One could see the anger in his heart from his expression. They had lived in this town for so long, and they had developed feelings for everyone. Now so many people had died in this town. It was indescribable how sad they were. I will. Di Baichun nodded. After I've avenged them, I'll tell you the news. Okay. After that, everyone settled Shen Xuxing and Lu Qiyu down to rest. Then they went to check on the situation in the town. Many people had died in the town. Fortunately, Lu Jin had informed the others immediately before the incident happened. Therefore, many people took the opportunity to escape. They only returned after everything had stabilized. Therefore, even though there were many casualties, the town's foundation was still there. Lu Jin and the others tacitly did not mention that this trouble was caused by Di Baichun and his group. They only said that other people had noticed that something was wrong with the spirit-devouring stone, and wanted to take a share of the loot. No one doubted this news. They had always kept a low profile, and did not mention anything about the spirit-devouring stone. However, there was no such thing as an absolute secret in this world. Eventually, someone would find out about it. Bailey Hongzhuang clenched her fists when she saw the sorrowful expressions on everyone's faces. Qing Devil. I'll kill him. This guy is really despicable. Shangguan Yingying was furious. He's a cultivator in the elementary celestial realm. How could he kill these people? He's really sick. Generally speaking, when a cultivator's strength had increased to a certain level, they would not be interested in attacking cultivators who were too weak. Just like how they were not interested in attacking cultivators from the upper realm. This was a kind of bullying in itself. Everyone had a tacit understanding not to do so unless the other party provoked them. Qing Devil had gone too far this time. I'm afraid we have to be more careful in the future. I thought we had done a good job, but Qing Devil still found out our whereabouts easily. I'm afraid we have to be careful even if we want to make friends in the future. Bai Li Yanche's expression was grave. This time, because of them, so many people in the small town had lost their lives. If they didn't want to implicate others, they had to be more careful. Otherwise, once the other party seized the opportunity, trouble would come. Judging from Qing Devil's means, he was ready to risk everything. He would do anything that could hurt them without hesitation. Unless we get rid of the Qing devil, we have to be careful. Di Baichen nodded slightly. I understand. Last time, Qing devil was injured. I don't know how he is now. Xiren sighed. Suddenly his expression changed, and he said, since even the small town has been implicated, will Yin Ju and others be in danger? Obviously, Qing devil had found out that they had stayed in Xi'an City. As long as they followed the clues, they would find out everything. Chapter 7389. Hearing Xiren's words, everyone's expression changed. We can't stay here any longer. We have to go back as soon as possible. Let's go. Everyone decided to leave almost immediately. Xiren's guess was very reasonable. The people in the town didn't have much to do with them. But now they ended up like this. Yunju and the others were definitely the Qing devil's targets. If anything happens to Yunju and the others, I will definitely cut the Qing devil into pieces. Bailey Hongzhuang's face was gloomy, and her clear black and white eyes were shining with a gloomy light. Boss, after you left, some people came to Xi'an City to inquire about the news. At that time, I didn't know who they were, but I arranged some means to get rid of them. Maybe it will work. You don't have to worry too much. Hearing this, Di Baichen nodded slightly, but the worry in his eyes didn't disappear. He didn't know whether this means would work or not. The Qing devil's people were not stupid. They couldn't be fooled by ordinary camouflage. Yunju and the others are also very powerful. Even if they really encounter the Qing devil, they will have a way to deal with it. Bailey Hongzhuang comforted herself. Yunju and Zhongli were very powerful. When they left, they were looking for an opportunity to break through. According to her judgment, they should have broken through to the elementary celestial stage now. The Qing devil just asked someone to do it. He probably didn't spend too much effort on it. Naturally, the people he sent wouldn't be too powerful. Facing the people in the town, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others felt guilty. But there was nothing they could do for them now. The only thing they could do was to leave some cultivation resources and elixirs for them. You can leave with peace of mind. The town will soon be as good as new. Lu Jin noticed the guilt of Di Baichen and the others, and a relieved smile appeared on his face. After such a thing happened, don't you plan to leave? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Lu Jin shook his head slightly. Our town has existed for many years, and has always been doing this kind of business. In the realm of chaotic immortal, devouring stones are very rare. We are one of the sources. If we disappear, those people will not let us go easily. Besides, our two sects are already used to these things. It's not a big deal, so you don't have to worry too much. It won't be long before we return to our original state. Everyone will be the same as before. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang had a complicated look on her face, but she understood what he meant. Every place had its own beliefs. This town had been doing the spirit-devouring stone business for a long time. Almost everyone was used to it. If they left this place, they would not be used to it. We already know your intentions. Everyone is very grateful to you for giving us so many healing pills and cultivation resources. This is what we should do. I know that this can't make up for anything, but this is all we can do for now. Bailey Hongzhuang was a little ashamed. When we kill the Qing devil in the future, we will definitely use this good news to pay tribute to the dead souls underground. We are waiting for your good news, Jiang Zhen said with a hearty smile. Jiang Zhen laughed heartily. When you become stronger in the future, you have to protect us. Don't think about these things for now. Goodbye. Take care. Chapter 7390. We do owe everyone in the town, but there's nothing we can do now. You've introduced Zhou Su and the others to Lu Jin. In the future, we can ask our eldest brother to do business with them. I think everyone in the town will be better off. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's worried look, Di Baichen held her hand and said gently. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. In the past, there have been many cultivators who have fallen, but because of us, there are not many who have been implicated. I'm really sorry. So am I. Di Baichen looked into the distance. Everything will come to an end eventually. King Pengsu. Xiao Soa looked at Qing Devil, who was still in a coma, her face full of worry. He has been in a coma for so long, and has taken all the medicine. Why hasn't he woken up yet? You are a bunch of good-for-nothings. What kind of quack doctor did you find? Two of Qing Devil's men were half kneeling in front of her. Hearing Xiao Soa's angry words, there was a trace of impatience between their eyebrows. We've found the best doctor in King Pengsu. Then why hasn't he woken up yet? Xiao Soa roared and slammed the teacup in front of the man. Miss, according to the doctor, there are some hidden dangers left by His Excellency's possession. It will take some time for these hidden dangers to be eliminated gradually. Now he encountered such a thing, and was seriously injured. He has used the best medicine to save His Excellency's life. Although he has been in a coma for a long time this time, as long as he wakes up, his previous hidden dangers will completely disappear. You don't have to worry too much. Miss. Xiao Soa's eyes became sharp. How many times have I told you? Call me madam. I'm Qing Devil's woman. I gave birth to his child. I'm the hostess here. You all have to call me madam. The man remained silent. No matter how angry Xiao Soa was, neither of them responded. They only knew that the young master was Qing Devil's child. But they couldn't be sure whether this woman was qualified to be the hostess. Unless His Excellency says it himself after he wakes up, we won't call anyone madam. Seeing that the two men were like stones in a latrine, Xiao Soa gave up her plan and said coldly, wait and see. When Qing Devil wakes up, I'll make you kowtow and apologize. We'll make amends. Xiao Soa was so angry that she laughed. She wanted to take advantage of the time when Azure Demon was in a coma to secure her position as the mistress. When they first met in the Crossing Immortal region, she knew that Azure Demon did not care about her at all. Now that Di Baichen and his companions had found Duxian Domain, Qing Devil was her only support. If she did not grasp all of this, it would be impossible for her to continue living in the Immortal Domain. Fortunately, she still had her child. As long as she had her child, she would have the greatest support. No matter what, the Azure Demon would not abandon his child's mother. By the way, have you done what I asked you to do? We've checked. Di Baichen and his companions stayed in Xian City. Except for the city lord, they didn't have many close friends, the man replied. The corners of Xiao Soa's lips curled up slightly. Let's get rid of everyone who is related to them. They don't have a good relationship with these people. The man frowned. Chapter 7391. So what? Xiao Soa raised her eyebrows and said, You've seen how powerful Di Baichen and his companions are. They are always like this. Even if they don't see each other for a while, their strength will improve a lot. Now that the Qing Devil hasn't woken up, we have no other choice. The only thing we can do is to get rid of their subordinates first. Otherwise, once they grow up, they will become more troublesome for us. Moreover, if we do that, their mood will be affected. Maybe their strength will improve more slowly. Hearing that, the two men looked at each other with a trace of hesitation. Seeing that they were still reluctant, Xiao Soa's face darkened immediately. I think you two have been disloyal for a long time. So you didn't do what you should do when the Qing Devil was unconscious? They are from the chaotic immortal realm. Their strength is much weaker than ours. Moreover, Di Baichen and his companions have already gone to the chaotic immortal realm. It's really unnecessary for us to do that. How do you know he won't go back? Xiao Soa snorted coldly. I asked you to do other things, but you didn't want to do it. Now, you don't even want to do such a small thing. How can I not be suspicious? When the Azure Demon wakes up, I'll definitely tell him everything. Let's see if you'll have a good time then. Miss, we will send someone to do it, the man said. That's more like it, Xiao Soa said with a cold face. You can leave now. After they left the room, the two men's faces darkened to the extreme. So King unlucky. Why did Master fall in love with such a woman? There are so many women in the Qingpeng continent who are much better than her. It's useless to say that now. I think Master doesn't care about her. However, for the sake of the child, she won't leave here in the future. We'd better be patient. Are we really going to do the thing in the chaotic immortal realm? What can we do if we don't do it? This woman is clearly using a chicken feather as a token of authority. She's deliberately causing trouble while Milord is unconscious. Baichin and the others are indeed not weak. Now that Milord has yet to wake up, we don't know if they have the intention of coming to us. There's nothing wrong with us doing something. That's true, but this is too much of a bully. The man scoffed inwardly. We have some reputation in the immortal region, yet we're going to deal with those fellows from the realm of chaos? I'm not that idiot, Qingji. Even he went to the realm of chaotic immortal, because he had other things to do. What's going on with us? The man didn't say anything. He only sighed. This situation was indeed very embarrassing. Xian City. When Bai Ziyuan saw Mo Yunjue and his group, he immediately welcomed them. Young Master Mo, you're here. Please come in. Mo Yunjue bowed with his hands clasped in front of him, before following him inside. Before Baichin and his group left, he had introduced them to the city governor, so they could take care of each other. Bai Ziyuan asked, Young Master Mo, it's been so long. Is there still no news from young Master D and the others? Mo Yunjue shook his head slightly. Not yet. We think they'll be back soon. Therefore, we plan to wait in Xian City to avoid missing them. Bai Ziyuan understood when he heard this. That's true. The realm of chaotic immortal is huge. It'll be difficult to find them if we miss them. Chapter 7392. We came to find City Lord Bai today, because we hope that you can help us keep an eye out for them. Once they return to Xian City, they will definitely come to see you. At that time, I hope that you can tell us where we live, so that it will be more convenient for us to meet up. From what young Master Mo said, it seems that you don't plan to go out and train for the time being. Back then, I went out to train so that I could break through to the elementary immortal stage as soon as possible. Now that I've broken through, I might as well rest for a while to stabilize my cultivation. After I meet up with them, we will head to the immortal region together. Mo Yunjue spoke very naturally, as if he was talking about something very ordinary. However, when Bai Ziyuan and Bai Qingli heard this, they could not help but reveal a shocked expression. The elementary immortal stage was a step that stopped many cultivators. Many people were stuck for decades, or even centuries without being able to break through. Previously, Baichin and Bailey Hongzhuang had both broken through, which was already an eye-opener for them. Now, Mo Yunjue and Zhongli Mu had also broken through. This kind of strength was really amazing. In just 2 short years, the shackles had been broken through. It was really amazing. Young Master Mo and young Master Zhongli are really first-class geniuses. It's admirable. City Lord, you flatter us. The speed of our breakthroughs is much slower. What are you talking about? Bai Ziyuan had a serious expression on his face. I've been the City Lord for quite some time now, and I've seen countless cultivators. However, to be able to break through the elementary immortal stage as quickly as you guys is truly rare. You guys have really opened my eyes. Qingli, you have to work hard too. Bai Ziyuan looked at Bai Qingli. He had always felt that his son's talent was very outstanding. He believed that as long as he had enough time, he would definitely have a chance to break through to the elementary immortal stage in this lifetime. However, when compared to these geniuses, the gap was immediately obvious. Although Bai Qingli was envious, he was not jealous. After interacting with Baichin and the others, he had long understood the difference between a true genius and an ordinary genius. Father, I will. Bai Qingli said. However, if you want me to break through as quickly as Baichin and the others, that's impossible. At first, Bai Ziyuan felt a little regretful. However, when he saw his son's broad chest, a smile immediately appeared on his face. Not bad. You just have to work hard. Bai Ziyuan patted Bai Qingli's shoulder. I believe you will break through one day. After Mo Yunjue told Bai Ziyuan where they were staying, he stood up and said his goodbyes. They planned to go into seclusion for a while to stabilize their cultivation and improve themselves. Young Master Mo, don't worry. As long as I see young Master D, I will definitely tell them this news. Thank you very much. You're too polite. Bai Ziyuan sent Mo Yunjue and the others off with a smile. In the past, he had always admired these young people, but now that they were experts in the elementary celestial stage, their status was no longer inferior to his. Moreover, judging by the speed at which the other party was improving, it wouldn't be long before he would have to address the other party respectfully. In the world of cultivation, strength was everything. Age had never meant anything. However, just as Bai Ziyuan and his group walked into the courtyard, they suddenly realized that there were a few more strangers here. Who are you people? Bai Ziyuan's expression changed abruptly. The other party dared to openly barge into his city lord's mansion. Did they think that there was no one in his city lord's mansion? Chapter 7393. You're the city lord of Cloud City? The man in the lead ignored Bai Ziyuan's anger and asked such a question instead. That's right, I'm the city lord of Cloud City. Bai Ziyuan's expression turned fierce. Who are you people? Do you know the consequences of trespassing into the city lord's mansion? We're looking for you. The man snorted. Kill him. What about the people next to him? Kill them all. Yes. The other party did not hesitate at all. Hearing the man's order, they charged forward boldly and decisively. In the blink of an eye, the two servants of the city lord's mansion were dead. Father, be careful. Bai Qingli quickly took out her weapon and blocked the other party's sword that was aimed at Bai Ziyuan. Bai Ziyuan took 2 steps back and quickly took out his weapon. Who are you people? Even if you want to kill me, you should at least let me know, right? You don't deserve to know. The man in the lead did not intend to explain at all. What kind of joke was this? He was from the celestial realm. Now that he had come to the celestial realm to kill someone, it was fine if others did not know about it. However, if this spread, how could he face others in the future? Since you want to kill me, this is the city lord's mansion's business. It has nothing to do with others. After this exchange, Bai Ziyuan realized that the other party's strength was extremely powerful. It was much stronger than he had expected. Over the years, his foundation in Cloud City had been stable, and he had not offended anyone. Logically speaking, he should not have any deep grudges with anyone. But now, the other party had attacked him without saying a word. Obviously, there was a deep grudge between them. Who on earth has such a deep hatred for me? Bai Ziyuan pondered in his heart. Unfortunately, he had been keeping a low profile all these years. Even if there were conflicts between the various city lords because of benefits, it would not develop into a blood feud. Thinking about it carefully, he really did not understand. None of you can escape. The man looked disdainfully at Mo Yunjue and the others. They're here today. It can only be said that they're unlucky. Seeing that the other party was so unreasonable, Bai Ziyuan was also angry. What kind of enemy was this? Generally speaking, when an enemy came knocking on the door, they would definitely clearly state the reason for their enmity. How could there be someone who would kill without a second word like this? They didn't even give the slightest chance to explain themselves. Simply detestable. Young Master Mo, I've implicated you in today's matter, Bai Ziyuan said in shame. Mo Yunjue chuckled as his eyes flashed with a cold light. Governor Bai, there's no need to take it to heart. The other party's tone is so arrogant that they want all of us to die here. Let's see if they have the ability to do so. Zhongli Mu coldly snorted. Over the past few years, there have been many people who wanted my head, but none of them succeeded. All of you are just following in their footsteps. Arrogant brat. Let me show you what it means by there's always someone better than you out there. The man threw a punch at Zhongli Mu. The strong wind from the punch exploded the air, creating a shocking sonic boom. It was obvious that he wanted to cripple Zhongli Mu with one punch. Zhongli Mu's eyes narrowed, and he didn't dodge at all as he threw a punch forward. Bang! When their fists collided, a trace of astonishment appeared in their eyes. Beginner Celestial Stage. Beginner Celestial Stage. Zhongli Mu was surprised that his opponent was an expert in the Beginner Celestial Stage. However, his opponent also did not expect Zhongli Mu to have reached the Beginner Celestial Stage at such a young age. Chapter 7394. Father, they're at the initial celestial stage. Bai Qingli furrowed her brows. It was rare to see such a powerful cultivator in the chaotic celestial realm. If they had offended such a powerful cultivator, they would definitely remember it very clearly. However, when she thought about all the enemies she had made over the years, she could not find such a powerful cultivator. As for the fact that someone would pay such a high price to hire a powerful cultivator at the initial celestial stage to deal with them, she did not think it was possible. To hire a powerful cultivator at the initial celestial stage was not a small price to pay. Furthermore, judging from the fluctuations of their auras, it was likely that there was more than one person at the initial celestial stage in their group. As far as she knew, no one would be able to hire such a powerful cultivator. I don't think I've ever offended such an enemy. Bai Ziyuan was a little flustered. Such a powerful opponent was clearly trying to destroy the city governor's mansion. City Governor Bai, there's no need to think so much. We'll find out once we've captured them and interrogated them. Mo Yunjue curled the corners of his lips into a disdainful sneer. His eyes, which were as deep as a black hole, were cold and merciless. He then attacked his opponent with an awe-inspiring aura. Bang bang bang. Shocking waves of energy erupted from the battle. The entire courtyard was instantly turned into a pile of rubble. The city governor's mansion had always thought that its defenses were pretty good. However, under such circumstances, they could not withstand a single blow. Bai Ziyuan had even warned everyone not to enter the mansion. The difference between their cultivation levels was too great. Entering the mansion would only result in death. Boom! Bai Ziyuan was sent flying with a single punch from his opponent. Father! Bai Qingli cried out in shock. She no longer cared about fighting her opponent, and quickly rushed to Bai Ziyuan's side. Bai Ziyuan groaned, and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale. 3 initial celestial stage cultivators. What kind of grudge do you have against me? Bai Ziyuan's voice trembled. His eyes were filled with shame and anger. He could not understand what he had done to deserve such a calamity. Go to hell. The man charged forward. His cold and grim face was filled with murderous intent. Qingli, get out of the way. Bai Ziyuan's eyes narrowed when he noticed the man's attack. He instinctively pushed Bai Qingli away. Father! Bai Qingli's reaction speed was also extremely fast, and she immediately blocked with her sword. Even though this attack managed to block the man's attack a little, his opponent's cultivation was far higher than his. This block was only for a short moment, before he was sent flying. Bang! Mo Yunjue's body was like lightning. Just as the man's sure-kill attack was about to land on Bai Ziyuan's body, he unleashed his speed to the maximum. A huge force exploded from his feet and kicked the man away. The man felt a sharp pain in his waist, and the attack deviated from its original trajectory. Bai Ziyuan originally thought that he was going to die, but after noticing that Mo Yunjue had blocked the attack, he let out a sigh of relief. He finally managed to keep his life. Bai Qingli hurried over and asked, Father, are you all right? I'm fine. Bai Ziyuan shook his head and looked at Mo Yunjue. It's all thanks to young Master Mo for saving me. City Governor Bai, you'll take care of the Radiant Sun cultivators. As for the initial celestial stage cultivators, we'll take care of them. Hearing this, Bai Ziyuan was slightly shaken. He could not help but feel a little worried. However, when he noticed that Zhongli Mu was forcing his opponent to retreat, he understood what was going on. Then I'll have to trouble you, young Master Mo. Under these circumstances, if he hesitated, he would only make things more troublesome and become a burden. Chapter 7395. Mo Yunjue and the other 2 moved like the wind, and their attacks were fierce and powerful. The originally arrogant opponent's expressions immediately changed when they realized that the 3's combat strength was not inferior to theirs, and was even slightly higher than theirs. Big brother, something is wrong. Didn't they say that there is only one elementary celestial in the city governor's mansion? The man was being pushed back by Zhongli Mu. Although Zhongli Mu had not broken through to the 1st grade, his physical strength was extraordinary. On the other hand, The man had just stepped into the elementary celestial stage. He thought it would be a good job to besiege the city governor's mansion in the chaotic celestial realm. He thought he could make a contribution without any effort. Who would have thought that the situation would turn out like this? It was completely different from what he had expected. Even though they had only fought for a short while, his internal organs had been severely injured. If this continued, it would only be a matter of time before he was defeated. The man's face turned pale. He recalled the situation when he first came in. Apparently, Bai Ziyuan was sending the three of them away. If they had waited for the three of them to leave, everything would have gone smoothly. He regretted it now. Why was he so unlucky? The man looked at Mo Yunjue and said, "Young master, what happened just now was our fault. If you leave now, we will pretend that nothing happened. What do you think?" In his opinion, the guy in front of him was more difficult to deal with than the man, who had an extremely strong physical body. Although Zhongli Mu's attacks were fierce, he could still resist for a while. However, the man's attacks were not sloppy at all. Every attack was aimed at his vital points. Although he looked casual, every attack was dangerous. If he was careless, he would lose his life. After a short while, the man's back was covered in cold sweat. He was sure that the man in front of him was extraordinary. His combat strength was amazing. Since there was no enmity between them, it was better not to become enemies. It is easier to invite the devil in than to send him away. Have you heard of this sentence? Mo Yunjue's face was cold. There was no change in his expression. His attacks were getting fiercer and fiercer. You wanted to kill us just now. Now you want to negotiate with us. Do you think we are fools? Zhongli Mu sneered. The man's face turned pale. When he was about to speak, Zhongli Mu said, "I have been wandering in the chaotic celestial realm for a long time. No one has ever escaped from me. Today, all of you will die here." Arrogant, the man was angered. His attacks became fiercer. "Where are you from in the celestial realm? How dare you act so arrogantly in the chaotic celestial realm? Do you think we are from there?" He was sure that they were not from the chaotic celestial realm. As a matter of fact, cultivators in the elementary celestial stage would not stay in the realm of chaos. Once they made a breakthrough, they would head to the realm of chaos as soon as possible. Only from the celestial stage were from the celestial realm. Immortal region? Mo Yunjue's gaze became unfathomable. "You're from the immortal region?" Bai Ziyuan's expression changed when he heard this. He had never offended anyone in the immortal realm. It was too strange for the other party to appear out of nowhere. "Are you looking for the wrong people? I don't know you." "Cut the crap. We're looking for you." The man attacked with all his strength. He knew that it was almost impossible for him to win easily with his strength. The only way was to fight to the death. Zhongli Mu did not plan to fight to the death. As long as he took them by surprise, he might succeed. Chapter 7396. Noticing Bai Ziyuan's confused look, Mo Yunjue understood that he really didn't know. He immediately said, "City Lord Bai, don't worry. Once I control them, you'll be able to get the answer." "Thank you, young Master Mo." Bai Ziyuan thanked him, and his attacks became even fiercer. If he couldn't figure out who his opponent was from the immortal region, he would probably not be able to eat or sleep in peace. Bai Qingli's eyes were filled with coldness. He wasn't a match for an elementary immortal, but other than that, the others weren't his match. This time, he had Mo Yunjue and the other two's help. As for the others, he wouldn't let a single one of them go. Bang bang bang. The sword in Bai Qingli's hand flickered continuously, and one figure after another fell to the ground, no longer making a sound. Zhongli Mu noticed Bai Qingli's straightforward appearance, and a trace of interest appeared in his eyes. "Big brother Mo, how about we compete in speed and see who's faster?" "Why not?" Mo Yunjue said. Yi Sun chuckled. "These three guys have persisted for long enough. I think the cultivators in the immortal region aren't that strong, so let's not waste time." "You're courting death." Hearing the humiliation in the three's words, the three men couldn't bear it anymore, and their combat strength immediately increased by a level. However, Mo Yunjue, and the other two's attacks changed. They didn't use fancy martial arts, and were all close combat skills. As the young master of the Heaven Slaughter Tower, Mo Yunjue had always been best at using the simplest methods to take people's lives. His moves were never fancy, but they were terrifyingly simple. Sparring was never suitable for him, because he would always use a killing move when he attacked. Swoosh! The sharp sword flew past, bringing with it a pillar of blood. Mo Yunjue's back was facing the man, and he calmly withdrew his sword. Bang! The man fell to the ground with a loud bang, and the sword cut his throat, and there was no more sound. You're actually the fastest again. Zhong Limu had a helpless look on his face. Almost every time he competed with Mo Yunjue in speed, he had never won. Mo Yunjue looked at the depressed Zhong Limu and said, "Remember to leave one alive, don't let them all die. This kind of thing doesn't suit me." Zhong Limu pulled his sword out of the man's vitals and looked at Yi Sun. "Yi Sun, remember to leave him alive." Yi Sun looked at the two of them helplessly. "No way. I'm last again? Who else could it be?" Zhong Limu chuckled. "Don't forget the old rules." "Understood." When Bai Ziyuan saw how Mo Yunjue and the other two dealt with their opponents in a joking manner, he couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Strength was the foundation of a cultivator. Yi Sun quickly grabbed one of them and threw him in front of Bai Ziyuan before saying, "Now, you can confess honestly. Who sent you?" Bai Ziyuan asked. The man looked at the fallen people, then looked at the few people who questioned him, and his expression became abnormally ugly. "Don't think of getting anything out of me. I won't say anything. You're really arrogant. You're already in our hands, yet you're still so arrogant. Do you really think we have no way to deal with you?" Zhong Limu took out a dagger and stabbed the man's body. "If you don't speak, I'll stab you bit by bit. Don't worry. I promise I won't take your life so easily. I've practiced this move for a long time, and I don't usually have a chance to use it. It's rare that I can use it today." Chapter 7397. The man couldn't help but shiver when he saw Zhong Limu's excited expression. Although this guy was the youngest, he was extremely ruthless. He could decide a person's life and death with a single joke. He couldn't help but feel regret. If he had known earlier, he would have died earlier. Now he was simply living a life worse than death. Falling into the hands of these people meant that he would be humiliated before he died. How painful was that? "We won't make things difficult for you. You just need to tell us who sent you, and we'll consider letting you live. How about it?" said Yi Sun. The man hesitated, and his eyes were filled with suspicion. "Don't think I'm an idiot. You won't let me go. You'll have to think about that yourself." Mo Yunjue's expression was indifferent. "Although you tell us who's behind this, and they might cause trouble for you. That's in the future. But if you don't tell us, you'll be in great trouble right now. Will you really let me go if I tell you? You have no right to negotiate with me." Seeing this, the man hesitated for a moment and seemed to have made up his mind. "If you're heartless, then I won't be righteous." "Fine, I'll tell you." Everyone raised their brows. They didn't quite understand what he meant. "We came from Qingpeng continent. Qing Devil's subordinates sent us a commission." Speaking of this, anger appeared on the man's face. "It's already very embarrassing that people from the immortal region came to mess things up. Who would have thought that they even gave us the wrong information and caused all of our people to die here?" The men rambled on for a long time, but Mo Yunjue's expression changed when he heard the words Qing Devil. "Qing Devil?" Bai Ziyuan was confused. "I don't know Qing Devil. Are you sure you didn't get the wrong person? You're the city lord of Shiyin City?" "I am." "Then there's no mistake," said the man. Bai Ziyuan was dumbfounded. He wondered if it was an enemy from a long time ago who'd gone to the immortal region after becoming strong, and now sent people to deal with him. However, no matter how he thought about it, he was unable to figure out exactly what he'd offended. Even if he'd gone to the immortal domain, he shouldn't have changed his name, right? It was only then that Yi Sun noticed Mo Yunjue's silence. He couldn't help but ask, "Yunjue, do you know something?" Mo Yunjue raised his head and looked at Bai Ziyuan with a complicated expression. "Governor Bai, you don't have to think about it. You don't know this person. Bai Ziyuan was stunned, but he quickly understood. Are they looking for revenge? It's our old enemy. I just didn't expect him to find us so quickly, and even implicate you. Mo Yunjue had an apologetic look on his face. City Lord Bai, we've let you down. Bai Ziyuan heaved a sigh of relief, and then his expression became complicated. No wonder Child D and the others asked me about the Qing Devil when they heard about it. I didn't take it to heart, and just thought they wanted to know more about it. I didn't expect them to have such a deep hatred for each other. Since the Qing Devil has found us now, won't it be dangerous in the future? Mo Yunjue hurriedly looked at the man. Have you heard about the Qing Devil and the Immortal Domain? The Immortal Domain. The man shook his head. I don't know about that. I only heard that the Qing Devil was seriously injured last time, and has been in a coma ever since. Chapter 7398. Mo Yunjue frowned. He was almost certain that the Qing Devil's injury had something to do with Bailey Hongzhuang. However, since the other party did not know about the process, he naturally did not know about the current situation of Hongzhuang and the others. Brother Mo, is the Qing Devil's sister Hongzhuang's enemy? Zhongli Mu's face darkened. They are so despicable that they even wanted to harm the city lord. How shameless is this guy? Zhongli Mu's face was filled with disbelief. Not only him, but when Bai Ziyuan and the others heard this, their eyes couldn't help but be filled with confusion. Is there really someone so despicable? Mo Yunjue nodded slightly. The Qing Devil is not a kind person. I knew that he was a terrible person, but I did not expect him to be so terrible. Once upon a time, the Qing Devil was also famous in the immortal realm. I did not expect him to be such a person. He really did not live up to his reputation. Bai Ziyuan shook his head. He recalled the admiration he had when he first heard about the Qing Devil's reputation, and felt that he was blind. Such a person was not worthy of anyone's admiration at all. He was a complete scumbag, who did not even have the bottom line of a cultivator. Yi Sun also looked worried. I knew that the Qing Devil was not a good person, but from what he did, I am worried that young Master D and the others will be in danger. What should we do? Bai Qingli was very worried. Offending such a despicable guy will probably cause a lot of trouble. I only hope that young Master D and the others are fine. Mo Yunjue calmed himself down and said in a deep voice, they should be fine. He believed in Beichen's strength. Even if the Qing Devil was really strong, they should be able to escape, as long as they seized the opportunity. Everyone looked at Mo Yunjue's complicated expression, and understood that the situation was not very optimistic. Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang had broken through to the elementary celestial realm, but the others hadn't. The Qing Devil must have done a lot of homework for her revenge. It was impossible for her to be unprepared. Once he set up an ambush, it would not be easy to leave. Yi Sun's gaze also changed slightly, but it did not fluctuate much. What kind of person was Di Beichen? It would not be easy for the people of the immortal realm to take his life. Young Master Mo, you don't have to worry too much. At this moment, Bai Qingli also understood. If Qing Devil really killed Di Gongzi and the others, I think he doesn't need to go through so much trouble to deal with us. He should have already investigated the relationship between our city lord's mansion and young Master D. If young Master D dies, the possibility of us taking revenge is almost zero. He doesn't have to go through all this trouble. Zhongli Mu's eyes lit up. That's right. The reason why he spent so much effort must be because he failed. Young Master Bai, you are really smart. Zhongli Mu let out a sigh of relief, and couldn't help but praise. Bai Qingli smiled slightly. Young Master D and the others are all people with great fortune. I believe that they will be able to turn misfortune into blessing. Thank you for your kind words. Mo Yunjue's expression did not change. Let's wait here for a few days. If there is still no news, we will have to go to the crossing immortal realm to take a look. Okay. Mo Yunjue looked at Bai Ziyuan again. City Lord Bai, we have implicated you today. We will be responsible for all the losses caused. However, they did not succeed this time. I'm afraid they will not stop here. Chapter 73-99. As soon as these words came out, everyone's expression became extremely complicated. That's true. Zhonglimu frowned. The people sent by the Qing devil are all experts in the immortal realm. Therefore, we can't leave this place. Otherwise, if they send more people, the city lord's mansion will be. Bai Ziyuan's expression also became abnormally ugly. This was definitely not good news for him. An enemy from the immortal domain was enough to cause the city lord mansion to be annihilated. Not to mention that the other party had a considerable influence in the immortal domain. This time they were lucky. If Mo Yunjue and the others had not come, they would have been finished. Yunjue, I don't think we can leave just like this. We have to be responsible, Yi Sun said. If young Master D and the others were here, they would have made the same decision. This happened because of them. If they chose to leave at this time, it would be tantamount to letting the entire city lord's mansion die with them. Mo Yunjue frowned. This was indeed a big problem for them. Could this be the Qing devil's purpose? In this case, they had to stay here, and could not leave at all. This is indeed very troublesome. Unless we kill the Qing devil, this trouble can't be solved at all. Bai Ziyuan did not speak, but his eyes were full of hope. If they did not choose to stay, he could only think of a way to move. Staying here was tantamount to waiting for death. The Qing devil will be killed by us sooner or later. A warm and pleasant voice slowly sounded from outside the courtyard, followed by a series of footsteps. Hearing this familiar voice, Mo Yunjue and the others had a look of surprise and uncertainty on their faces. After seeing who it was, this uncertainty turned into a smile. I knew you guys were lucky. You'll be fine. Mo Yunjue's lips curled into a rare smile. His usually cold face was tinged with a trace of gentleness. You came back much faster than I expected. Of course. We can't let you down, Di Baichen said with a faint smile. Big brother D, you're back. That's great. Zhonglimu was overjoyed. We were just worried about your safety. We won't lose our lives so easily, Xiren said proudly. Qing devil was seriously injured last time. It's a pity that I didn't kill him directly. However, this is only a matter of time. Sooner or later, he will die in our hands. Shangguan Yingying and the others looked at Xiren's complacent appearance and couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. This guy had completely forgotten how he looked when he was beaten up. The misery at that time was simply unbearable for them to recall. Young Master D, it's great that you're back. City Lord Bai smiled. I didn't expect you guys to really make it to the crossing immortal domain. It's truly amazing. These were the words that came from the bottom of his heart. According to his knowledge, it was absolutely not easy to head to the celestial region. Previously, when he found out about this matter, he felt that it was impossible. However, it was obvious that the other party had made up his mind to do it, so he did not say anything. He did not expect that it would actually succeed, which was really beyond his expectations. Nowadays, the young people were much more powerful than he thought. Perhaps it should be said that Di Baichen's group had created a lot of miracles. Just like the Array Master competition, it also made people's jaws drop. Chapter 7402. Bai Qingli understood that this was for their safety. She nodded and said, I understand. After you leave, my father and I will leave the city lord's mansion for a while. We will come back when everything is settled. As the city lord of Xi'an City, Bai Ziyuan had built his foundation here for so many years. He could not leave this place forever and think that he was safe. Fortunately, leaving for a short time was not a problem. As a cultivator, it was normal for him to go into seclusion or train. Even if he left for a few years, there would not be any major changes. Moreover, he was so familiar with Xi'an City. If something really happened, someone would inform him. City Lord Bai, we are sorry for what we did to you. Di Baichen bowed and said, we will send someone back to pass on the message once we have taken care of everything. Bai Ziyuan waved his hand and said with a faint smile, it's fine. It's just a few years. It's not a big deal. You, on the other hand, Must be careful when you go to the immortal region. He had thought it through. Although Di Baichen and the others caused the Qing Devil incident, it had already happened. Whether he liked it or not, it was a fact that could not be changed. However, Di Baichen and the others were genius cultivators. They had successfully broken through to the elementary immortal stage in a short time after coming to the chaotic immortal realm. They might have a better future after they went to the immortal region. He believed that as long as they did not die in the immortal region, they would definitely become important figures in the future. When that time came, if he encountered a disaster, they would not leave him alone. The friendship of a group of future powerhouses was very precious. City Lord Bai and Bai Ziyuan's attitude made everyone feel much better. They were completely implicated in the entire incident. It was not easy for them to have such a forgiving attitude. This made them feel that they could not let them down. Oh right. Bai Ziyuan raised his eyebrows and said, if this is the case here, will Qingyang City be affected as well? Di Baichen had been developing in Shiyun City since he came to the crossing immortal domain. However, he was quite close to the city lord of Qingyang City. Since the Qing Devil was so crazy to attack them, he might attack Qingyang City as well. That's true. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flickered. I think we still have to make a trip to Qingyang City. If there's nothing else, it's best to let them leave for the time being to lie low. Once they understood the problem, they immediately set off for Qingyang City without caring about the situation in Shiyun City. Boss, you guys go first. I'll go check on the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. Standing outside the door, Gong Jun pondered for a moment. He still couldn't let go of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. When he left the Immortal Treasure Pavilion, he left the Immortal Treasure Pavilion in the hands of trustworthy people. Back then, the Myriad Treasure Pavilion was suppressed by the Immortal Treasure Pavilion to the point that they couldn't raise their heads. Now that so much time had passed, he didn't know if the situation had changed. Most importantly, he felt that if even the City Lord's mansion had been attacked like this, then the Immortal Treasure Pavilion would probably be in even more trouble. Hearing this, everyone had different expressions. They looked at Gong Jun with complicated expressions. Okay, then we'll go first. You can meet up with us when the time comes, said Di Baichen. I'll go with Gong Jun, don't worry. Bai Ziyuan walked over. If there really is someone there, we can escape. Chapter 7403. Thank you, City Lord Bai. No problem. Before leaving, when Xiren walked in front of Gong Jun and patted him on the shoulder. Gong Jun, my condolences, scram. Fine, I'll scram. When Xiren quickly ran out and said with a sigh, a dog biting Lu Dongbin, not recognizing the kindness of others. Gong Jun has really changed. How did he change? Zhongli Mu asked. When Xiren shrugged. I was just comforting him. Think about it. The City Lord's mansion is already in such a state. How can the Immortal Treasure Pavilion still be around? I bet there's nothing left of it, but he still doesn't appreciate it. I bet he's still holding a grudge against me for cheating him of his cultivation resources. Bai Liyanche rolled his eyes. You know that Gong Jun cares about the Immortal Treasure Pavilion the most. Yet you still say such things to provoke him. You're lucky if you don't get beaten to death. He wants to beat me, but he's not strong enough to do so, Xiren said proudly. Di Baichen glanced at the smug Wen Xiren and mercilessly poured cold water on him. Gong Jun has already sensed the barrier to the elementary immortal stage. He's not far from breaking through. Cough cough. Xiren almost choked on his own saliva. He then looked at Di Baichen in disbelief. How is this possible? He's been looking after the store every day. He doesn't have time to cultivate. Bai Liyanche stepped forward and put one hand on Xiren's arm. Xiren, you've known Gong Jun for so long. Don't you realize that he's a genius? Genius? What genius? Xiren was confused. He didn't realize it at all. Gong Jun has put most of his energy into business, but his cultivation speed hasn't lagged behind us. It was a good thing that his ambition was not to cultivate. Just like this, he was about to break through to the elementary immortal realm. If he put all his focus on cultivation, think about it, what realm would he be at now? Bai Liyanche shook his head. Actually, I noticed it long ago. I asked him before, and he said that if he focused on cultivation, he might be stronger than Beichen now. However, he did say that he felt that it would be fine as long as he didn't hold the cultivators back. He still preferred doing business. Look at him, he's just casually practicing. Look at him, he's just casually practicing. Bailey Yinch's words lingered in Wen Xiren's mind like a demon's voice, lingering for a long time. He had always felt that Gong Jun was the weakest in their team, and that he had a sense of superiority in front of him. Who would have thought that it was not the case at all? Could it be that he was the weakest in the team? Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at Xiren, who was like a frosted eggplant, and raised their eyebrows slightly. Could it be that when Xiren was really defeated? This guy was always lively, and did not seem like someone who would be defeated so easily. However, Bai Lianche was not talking nonsense. Gong Jun was indeed about to break through. This guy did not take this to heart. The reason why he mentioned it was because Di Beichen was worried about Gong Jun's situation after he went to the immortal realm. Under such circumstances, Gong Jun mentioned that he was about to break through. If there were no accidents, he would be able to break through before he went to the immortal realm. Bai Lianche also happened to hear this news at that time. This was indeed good news for everyone. At least in this way, their overall strength would be stronger by a level. Little Xuanzi had not broken through yet, and Little Blossom was also a level away. One more elementary immortal was of great significance. Chapter 7404. Zhongli, don't you think I'm too weak? When Xiren had a defeated look on his face. Normally, he had already suffered a terrible blow. Beichen and Hongzhuang were not humans. Their cultivation speed was not something ordinary people could compare to. He had long since given up on the idea of competing with them. As for Yin Che and Ling, one of them was a beast king, and the other was a dragon. Naturally, their cultivation talent was not to be underestimated. According to Beichen, Yin Che and Ling Er's cultivation speed would be even faster after breaking through to the elementary celestial stage. This was because the Beast clan had a greater advantage in tempering their bodies. These guys couldn't compare. He didn't want to compare at all. But now even Gong Jun was stronger than him. How could he still live like this? It's all right. Zhong Limu thought for a moment and said, actually, it's because we're all geniuses. Think about it, I was much stronger than Beichen. In the end, they broke through to the elementary celestial stage, but I haven't. Only then did Wen Xiren feel a little relieved. Indeed, these were not normal people, and could not be compared to him. Then what is your cultivation level now? I broke through to the elementary celestial stage a while ago. F***CK. That hurts. Xiren left Zhong Limu. This guy is so young, but he has broken through to the elementary celestial stage. What a beast. Back then, he didn't know who had told him that the elementary celestial stage was an insurmountable hurdle for cultivators. If one wanted to break through, it would take at least a decade or a few decades. It was simply impossible. However, how long had it been since they came to the chaotic celestial realm? 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them had broken through. He looked at Mo Yunjia. There was no need to say anything. This guy was only second to Beichen. Yingying. Shangguan Yingying did not mock Xiren. She only said, don't worry. You'll break through soon. I know my wife loves me the most. Xiren was touched. Qingyang City. When Yang Han saw that Di Beichen and his group had returned, a look of pleasant surprise appeared on his face. Young Master Di, you are back? Did your trip go well? Di Beichen nodded. Not bad. You guys really went to the crossing celestial domain. How admirable. City Lord Yang, we came here today to discuss something with you. Di Beichen went straight to the point. Seeing Yang Han, he understood that the Qing Devil City hadn't discovered the situation in the mansion of the governor of Xi'an City. However, he couldn't be sure whether the Qing Devil's men didn't intend to attack this place, or they were too slow to come here. No matter what, it was best to be prepared early. Yang Han noticed the serious look on Di Beichen's face, and understood that he really had something important to discuss with him. He immediately said, Please come in. Let's talk inside. They walked into the mansion of the governor, and Yang Han sent someone to inform Yang Qinxue and Yang Lingfeng. After entering the courtyard, Di Beichen told Yang Han everything that had happened. Yang Han immediately understood. So, you came here to inform me to leave the mansion of the governor to lie low? Di Beichen nodded. Uncle Yang, my father also has the same plan. The enemy sent more than one master of the elementary celestial stage. Once we encounter them, the mansion of the governor will be destroyed. For safety's sake, it's better to leave first. Yang Han's expression was very complicated. He had stayed in the mansion of the governor for so many years, and had never left like this. Chapter 7405. How long will I be away? Yang Han had mixed feelings. He kept thinking about the recent events in the city lord's mansion. Even if he had to leave, he had to at least deal with the matters at hand. Not too long, Di Beichen said in a deep voice. We'll go to the celestial realm soon. According to our plan, we'll first deceive Qing Devil and the others. If we succeed, the crisis will be resolved. We'll inform you as soon as possible. Yang Han also understood that he was no match for a few experts in the elementary celestial realm. In such a situation, he had no other choice. I understand, Yang Han said. City Lord Yang, I'm really sorry. Di Beichen cupped his hands. His deep eyes were suffused with a faint cold light. He had not let down many people in his life, but because of Qing Devil and Xiao Sou, he had let down so many people. When he reached the celestial realm, he would not let these two people go. Yang Han waved his hand. Young Master Di, you've helped us a lot. This is nothing. You don't have to take it to heart. Everyone looked at Yang Han with some doubts. Di Beichen and the others had not done anything other than winning glory for Qingyang City in the Array Master competition. Yang Han smiled. My biggest wish in this life is for Qinxue and Lingfeng to break through to the elementary celestial realm. With their cultivation speed, although I've always had expectations, I understand that the chances are not high. If Miss Bailey had not cured Lingfeng and intentionally promoted them during their training, how could Lingfeng have broken through to the elementary celestial realm? My biggest wish has been realized. What's the big deal about leaving the city lord's mansion temporarily? Even if I'm not the city lord, I won't have any regrets. Lingfeng has broken through to the elementary celestial realm? Bailey Hongzhuang was delighted. This guy had been looking forward to breaking through as soon as possible. When he was with Fox and the others, young Lingfeng had collected a lot of fruits. It seemed that his cultivation talent was not bad. He had successfully broken through. Of course, I'm also a first-class genius. Yang Lingfeng arrived late. When he heard Bailey Hongzhuang ask about him, he immediately answered proudly. Bailey Hongzhuang turned around and felt Yang Lingfeng's aura. As expected, he had broken through to the elementary celestial realm. Then I must congratulate you. Yang Lingfeng smiled faintly. Compared to you guys, my speed is extremely slow. However, I know my limits. I'm already satisfied with my progress. Now he was no longer as confused as he was at the beginning. Before, he only felt that he had to constantly become stronger for the sake of his father's expectations. It was Di Beichen who made him understand his own heart. What's the matter? Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Are you about to break through? Yang Qinxue lowered her head, a little embarrassed. My cultivation talent is not as good as Lingfeng's. Although I've been cultivating non-stop, I haven't broken through yet. It's only a matter of time. Bailey Hongzhuang comforted. She observed Yang Qinxue's aura. It was much stronger than when she had left. She thought that she would break through soon. Sister, you don't have to worry. Once Qingli breaks through, what are you afraid of? Yang Lingfeng looked at Bai Qingli. Don't think that I don't know. Sister has given you a lot of fruits. If you don't treat my sister well in the future, I won't let you off. Bookmark for easier reading. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.